With Julian Morse. He's running for City Council for a second term. Julian, why don't you tell us why you're running for a second term?
Why I'm running for a second term? Well, I mean, my initial reason for running is the same. I care about the future of Yellowknife. I think that going into a second term, I'll be better positioned to move forward some of the initiatives that we've gotten going in the first. The main three tenets of my platform are economic development and diversification, sustainability and livability of the city, and just better governance.
Right. So maybe just tell us a little bit about where your focus is. Like, what do you think the first thing that, as a city councillor with City Council after this election, what do you think the first thing that needs to be accomplished or task?
I mean, honestly, the first task is going to be looking at budget 2019. The way that the elections work, that is the first task of council is budget 2019, so that'll be a big one. I've put forward a couple of budget items. One of them is a renewed economic development strategy. The city has a 2014 to 2019 strategy, and so coming up into 2019, I want to ensure that we have a smooth transition into the new one. So I put that forward for budget 2019. Whether or not I'm reelected, that'll go towards council. And some other things from the budget. I mean, the waste audit came out last year to not very much fanfare, as you might expect, but it's something that's very important to residents, I think, and should be. There's a lot of stuff that we can do to reduce the long-term costs for the city of running the landfill if we implement the waste audit. And so there's some things in there that I think may be a bit more difficult to push forward, but there's a lot of easy wins, like increasing the amount of composting going on in the city. We could do sort of a progressive staging of waste bins so that if you use more waste, you can buy a bigger bin, and if you use less waste, you can use a smaller one, and that's a way that you can reduce your bills at home.
Right. Property taxes, user fees, there's a number of ways that the city can generate revenue. Where are you sort of thinking? I mean, the city has recently asked for the city to hire a number of employees. Like, where are you thinking on some of those issues?
On employees especially, I mean, what I said when the city initially brought those forward was I would want to see very strong substantiations for why that position is needed and everything that they've done to reorganize and reprioritize to ensure that they've kind of turned over every stone before we add a new position. Adding unionized positions, obviously, to city staff, that's a cost that's ongoing. Over time, and it's much easier to add positions than to take them away. And so I would just need to see very strong substantiations. Right now, the position that I'm most interested in, or the department that I'm most interested in, is the Economic Development Department. It is currently structured so that the Director of Economic Development is also Director of Policy and Communications. I would like to see a restructuring of that department. I'd like to see more resources put into economic development. I really think that this is an incredibly important file. I think that the city of Yellowknife is facing economic challenges that we haven't yet figured out how we're going to overcome as a community, as a territory. So I'd like to see more resources there. So that's about where I'm sitting with staffing.
Right. There's been some controversy this year with the city's MED department. What do you think the city needs to do to sort of get past that?
I put forward some policy recommendations. Again, sometimes these things don't get a lot of fanfare, but policy recommendations just related to policies that could be updated, in response to that. Council has already given administration some direction related to revitalizing the image of MED. I mean, the official inquiry, I would just point out, is not completely concluded yet. And so, I can't speak to it while it's an active, ongoing investigation, but my hope is that, in the next term we can do the work that's needed to kind of revitalize the image of MED in the public eye.
Right. Well, on that note, I'd like to wish you good luck and have a good election campaign going forward, and I'll see you on the election trail there,
Okay.
Julian. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.